Commissioner Hamilton?
I just want to clarify a few things after listening to all this testimony. It's not all that clear to me. As of September 11th, only the president had the authority to order a shoot down of a commercial aircraft.
That's correct, sir.
And today, who has the authority?
We see the President delegated to the Secretary of Defense, delegated to the Combatant Commander of Northern Command and the North American Aerospace Command, and there are emergencies authorities if that fails.
So you have the authority.
Yes, sir, and others.
And how many others?
I'd prefer not to say in this forum, sir, but I can provide it for the record.
And you do not have to go up the chain of command at all in the event of
Well, we
an
certainly will
emergence.
try.
I
We
know
will
that.
make every effort
I'm
to
sure
try.
you would, but you don't have to.
In an emergency situation, we can take appropriate action. Yes, sir.
Now, one of the things that's curious to me, General Arnold, you said that you did not learn of the presidential order until after the United 93 had already crashed. That was about a little after 10 o'clock in the morning. The first notice of difficulty here was at 8:20 in the morning when a transponder goes off on the American Flight 11. I don't know how significant that is, but 20 minutes later, you had notification of a possible hijack. So there's a long lapse of time here between the time you are initially alerted and you receive the order that you could shoot that aircraft down. Am I right about that?
That's correct.
In your timeline, why don't you put in there when you were notified?
For which flight, sir?
Well,
you just
I
told
mean,
me the
getting the
clearance.
notification from the President of the United States that you have the authority to shoot into commercial aircraft down is a pretty significant event. Why would that not be in your timeline?
I don't know when that happened.
Had you ever received that kind of a notice before?
Not to my knowledge.
So this was the first time in the history of the country that such an order had ever been given, so far as you know.
Yes, sir. I'm sure there's a log that would tell us that, and I appreciate the question.
Yeah. Maybe you could let us know that. And then finally, as I understand your testimony, it was not possible to shoot down any of these aircraft before they struck. Is that basically correct?
That is correct. In fact, the American Airlines 77, if we were to have arrived overhead at that particular point, I don't think that we would have shot that aircraft down.
Because
Well, we had not been given authority to shoot
you
that
didn't have
aircraft.
authority at that point.
And, you know, it is through hindsight that we are certain that this was a coordinated attack upon the United States.
But had you gotten scrambled earlier, notified earlier of 77's deviance about when it turned east, for instance, certainly you could have got the F-16s there, and presumably there would have been time to communicate to either get or be denied authority, no? For 77.
I believe that to be true. I believe that to be true. It had to happen very fast, but I believe that to be true.
What efforts were made that day to contact the president to seek that authority?
I do not know.
Who would have been in the chain of command seeking authority from the president with whom anyone at NORAD was communicating with?
Can you answer that?
The command director in Cheyenne Mountain is connected with the combatant commander who would have had the telephone lines open at that point, but I don't have knowledge of what happened that day, but that would be the way it would be done.
The flow would be through the Secretary of Defense, obviously,
What-
too.
Well, the Secretary of Defense was under attack in the Pentagon.
He was evacuating, yes, sir.
Now, in terms of anything you know today, looking backwards, including all of the after-action reports and various studies which I'm sure have been conducted internally, and I'm sure which we will wish to review. Can you not tell us whether there was any effort made to contact the President to seek authority in dealing with what appeared to be a coordinated attack?
I don't have knowledge at this time to make a comment on that, sir.
I don't have knowledge of that. Our actions were to try to get aircraft in position to intercept if necessary.
Now, just going back, because now I'm confused by, on the one hand, your statement that the closing of the airspace over Washington provided de facto authority to take whatever measures were necessary to deal with hostile aircraft, and your statement that we probably would not have shot down 77 if we had arrived in time.
Airspace had not been shut down over Washington, D.C. at that time.
What time was that? Is that on the timeline?
I believe it is. I believe it was reported by Secretary Mineta, the timeline that occurred.
It's not on your timeline.
No, sir, it's not.
What do you know what time that was?
Sir, the only thing I've seen is we have a copy of, provided by General Worley, of an Andrews Tower transmission that announced to all aviation traffic that the Class B airspace was closed and that air traffic that did not cooperate would be shot down.
What the time was that, Colonel Scott?
Sir, we'd have to go to the tower logs. We can get that for you. The tower log would show us what time that transmission was made, but I don't know what time it was made.
And on whose order was that directive given, that any plane in this sector would be shot down?
Unknown to me, sir.